Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Celtic Way YouTube channel, where you join us a little over 24 hours after Celtic 4, Ross County 2. My name is Ryan McGinlay, and today I'll be talking about that game in a little bit more detail and my analysis of the game using StatsBomb metrics and analytics. But before we start, if I could just direct everybody to the ticker tape at the bottom of the screen. If you subscribe to the Celtic Way website and support top quality football journalism covering the club you love, you will receive articles just like this one in full form and article form today on the website. You will also receive instant analysis from me, Aidan McDonald and Tony Haggerty, big interviews, big match reactions from whoever is writing that, whether that be myself, whether that be Aidan or Tony. You'll also be getting analytics pieces from Duco James, from Alan Morrison, and scouting pieces from Stuart Ross. So anything that you're looking for with regards to Celtic journalism, we've got it at the Celtic Way. And if everybody could subscribe to the channel, it really helps us do what we do. If you subscribe to both the channel and the website, it means that you'll be supporting us and we'll be able to continue to endeavour to do these free videos for you daily. So if you are interested and you would like to support us further, visit www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe and subscribe to the YouTube channel. But just going on to yesterday's game, now Celtic defeated Ross County 4-2 at home as they got their Scottish Premiership title defence underway with a win at Celtic Park on Flag Day. As you can see on the screen now, I've got some of the statistics from that game. Celtic scored 4 goals to Ross County's 2 in terms of XG, which stands for expected goals, 2.86 to Ross County's 1.00, which shows you that even though Celtic scored 4 goals, they really only expected 2.86 due to the chances that they created in the game. So it shows that they're taking their chances and they're taking more difficult chances when they come along, which maybe goes a lot to say about Brendan Rodgers' style of play and the players that Celtic possess, especially when compared to Ross County, even though Ross County put up a good fight against the Scottish champions. Looking at the cumulative XG, it's 2.65 to 0.96. It's cumulative expected goals. In terms of shots, it was 18 to Ross County's 7, 12 shots on target to Ross County's 2, 73% Celtic possession, 27% the other way. Pass completion was 90%, which is really high for Celtic, whereas it was 71% for Ross County. Still a good amount, but Celtic were dispossessing them and forcing them into unforced errors a lot of the time. For total passes, 834 to Ross County's 303. 751 were completed to Ross County's 214. In terms of pressures, which is a stat that players like Matt O'Reilly and Dyson Maeda are really good at, Celtic put on 130 different pressures in the game. To Ross County's 156. That was because they were off the ball a lot of the time, but Celtic regained off of pressures more with 23 to Ross County's 22. Tackles won was 11 to 19 on Ross County. You would expect that as they were defending more throughout the game. 4 yellow cards on Ross County when compared to 0 from Celtic, and 0 red cards or second yellow cards. So just going into the game, it was a bit of a slow start from Celtic, much like their game against Athletic Club during the week, where Athletic Club actually did take the lead in that game. But as you can see, just when I pull up the race chart, it was Ross County that were accumulating more XG in the early part of the game. You look at their bar, which is purple when compared to Celtic's yellow. For the first 10, 15 minutes, up until about the 17th, 18th minute, when Celtic scored their first goal, it was actually Ross County that were making more of the chances. As you can see there, 0.5 they were up to. And then all of a sudden it just changed. It just goes to show you what happens when teams don't take their chances when they do come along. Celtic, with the superior players and the superior budget, will come over and take the chances that are given to them. The home side, Celtic, were awarded a penalty following Greg Taylor being fouled in the box from the Ross County defender, which then gave a surprise starter on the day, David Turnbull, the chance to convert a penalty. He took that penalty, converted it perfectly, sent the goalkeeper laid law the wrong way, and it was 1-0. That was the first of 2 goals that afternoon for David Turnbull, and it was a really impressive game. He was talking after the game about how he wants to stay at Celtic and cement his place in that first team, potentially getting a new deal down the line. Obviously, he's got a year left on his current deal, so that will be something that Celtic will be looking to resolve in the near future. Celtic would then double their lead shortly after through Kyogo Furuhashi. I suspect that will be the first goal of many this season for the Japanese striker, before Turnbull achieved his brace with a good finish from a Matt O'Reilly cross. So it was 3-0 at half time. It looked as if Celtic were on easy streets, and it was a matter of how many in the second half. But that wasn't going to be the case. The visitors would rally, and Jordan White would head a looping effort past Joe Hart, who has been the subject of much criticism in the Celtic goals, before Matt O'Reilly then restored the free goal advantage for Celtic. James Brown would then convert a late deflected shot past Carl Starfelt and Joe Hart into the Celtic net, concluding the scoring for the afternoon as the game finished 4-2. It was still a win. It was still 3 points at the end of the day, but plenty for Brendan Rodgers, the returning Celtic manager, to come and have a look at and sort of gauge with his players. Just looking at the first table that we have on yesterday's game, looking at the top 5 key passers in the game, Kyogo was first. He was leading Celtic with 4 key passes throughout the game. He was playing a bit of a deeper role, which I explain more in the full article. He was dropping in deep, making things happen in a playmaking sense, and it just shows you the evolution of the player under Brendan Rodgers. Under Ange Postecoglou, the previous manager, he was a very lonely figure up front for large parts of the game, but he was getting more touches in this game because he was coming in deep and making things happen, as I said, in a playmaking sense. 4 key passes, an XG of 0.61, and he got an assist for Matt O'Reilly's goal. Matt O'Reilly, talking about him, he completed 3 key passes in the game at a 0.25 expected goals. He also got an assist in the game. Daizen Maeda, David Turnbull and Lee Alabada all got 1 key pass. Then looking on to the second graph or chart from the game today, or the game yesterday rather, the top 5 shooters in the game. David Turnbull was first with 5 shots, an expected goal tally of 1.48. He got 2 goals off of that. Obviously his penalty, which was a high XG shot, and his right-footed finish from the Matt O'Reilly cross to make it 3-0 at the time to Celtic. Matt O'Reilly would have 4 shots, accumulating 0.28 on his expected goals. 4 shots, that's still really good for an attacking midfielder, especially when Kyogo was playing that playmaking role as well. It's good to see those two interchanging. He got a goal. He got his 4th goal, which was assisted by the aforementioned Kyogo. Daizen Maeda had 3 shots in 0.15, a wee bit more wasteful from the winger, but he was playing out wide when we know that Brendan Rodgers prefers to play him as a striker up front like he does for Japan. Kyogo got 2 shots with an expected goals of 0.24. He got 1 goal on the day, and James Forrest only had the 1 shot, but his expected goals was 0.30. That was a really big chance for him in the second half. A good cross into him from Lee Alabada, and James Forrest should have scored, but Ross Laidlaw had a really good save in the game. Just going on to nextly the pass network, and we at the Celtic way, we look at the on-ball values, which is what the players do on the ball, and that then brings up a number. If I could just bring up a wee sort of definition with regard to passing. The passing network gives a rough idea of where the majority of the game was played and who was the most involved. The warmer the colour, the more influential the player was in the game, and the thicker the passing lines, the more passes between the players. Now, this is just a side-by-side comparison of Celtic and Ross County's OBV values in the game. As I was saying before, the brighter the colour, or the warmer the colour, the more influential the player was in the game with regard to this metric. Looking at Celtics, which is on the left-hand side, it looks as if Daizen Maeda was the most effective in terms of on-ball values, and Mike Nawrowski, who was making his debut for Celtic at Celtic Park yesterday, he also had a good game in that regard. If I could just bring up some of the values in statistical form, Maeda scored 0.28 off of 21 passes, the highest for both sides. The debutant Nawrowski was similarly impressive in this area, where his 89 passes accumulated 0.16 in OBV. As I was saying, the warmer the colour, the more effective in OBV, but the colder the colour, the less effective. Left back Taylor had an off day when it came to this metric, as his 71 passes scored minus 0.05, and Callum McGregor was the next lowest in the team with 0.03 on 90 of his passes. It's just one sort of metric that you can use to describe players. It doesn't talk about their overall performance. I thought Greg Taylor and Callum McGregor both had solid games, maybe not as influential as they have been in games last season, but it's only the first game of the season. They'll definitely be looking to improve, and in terms of OBV, as the season goes on, only the first game of the season, they've got plenty to improve on, and I'm sure they will under Brendan Rodgers. For the other team, for Ross County, if we could just touch on them quickly, their lack of warmer colours across the pitch indicated that many players did not succeed as well with regard to OBV totals. Luturi in the midfield was a key passer for his side, judging by the warmer OBV on the right-hand side. As you can see, he is the player with the orange sort of colour with regard to OBV. Laidlaw was also in a warm colour. He was the goalkeeper. He was right at the back in that right-hand side, as was creative midfielder Jan Dander, who had a good game for Ross County, was arguably their best player on the park on the day. So yeah, he had a really good performance for Ross County. It'll be interesting to see if any other teams maybe pick him up before the end of the window. I know that teams will be looking at creative midfielders and if they can benefit them. So Ross County could face a challenge on their hands to keep a player of Jan Dander's quality. He had 3 key passes in the game. I know we spoke about Celtic's key passes, but Jan Dander had the most in the game, or the second most, or joint second most in the game, with 3 at 0.43. So that's a really impressive game by his standards. Just looking at some more things with regard to, or some more metrics with regard to the game. If I could just bring up this is a graph of Matt O'Reilly and the shot that he took, which was the 4th goal in the game. On this graphic, I don't know if you can probably see it properly, but the XG was 0.14 for that shot, but the post-shot expected goal was 0.42, which was a rise of around 28, or it was a real improvement in that regard for Matt O'Reilly. Once he took the shot, then he was able to make a difference and put it past Ross Laidlaw in goals. So yeah, it was a really good performance from Celtic yesterday. A bit hit and miss defensively, but in terms of an attacking force, they passed with flying colours. 4 goals to Ross County's 2, and it was a really solid attacking performance from the home team. 3 points on the board. Obviously, they sit top of the table. Hopefully they can keep it that way for the rest of the season and retain the title. It's still early days, but start as you mean to go on, and it is good that Celtic are getting used to that winning feeling again. You know, it was a bit of a shaky end to the season last season, but it looks as if Celtic are back and they're consistent and they're ready to go with regard to this new season. I would just like to say thank you very much to everybody for joining me with regard to this video. If you would like to subscribe to the Celtic Way website and support everything we do, top quality football journalism covering the club that you love, you can visit www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe, where you will get instant content from myself, from Tony from Eden, when we cover the games, whether that be in video or written form. You'll get scouting reports, you'll get analytical reports of the players currently at the club, managers and how Brendan Rodgers works, his formations in which he carries out for the team, and big interviews from players of the past. So if you are interested in that, then visit www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. Like I said before, you can also find the full version of this article on that website, where I've written in detail, where I talk about more metrics with regards to the players that played and the team that was put out against Ross County. If you would like to look at that, then visit www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. All that's left for me to say is thank you very much for joining me today on the Celtic Way YouTube channel. We'll be back tomorrow with the morning briefing, and we'll have videos through the week with regards to all things Brendan Rodgers and Celtic. But until then, thank you very much. I'll see you later and enjoy the rest of your day.